Welcome to an Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum flyby. I'm Kathryn, part of the education team here at Evergreen, and today we're talking about radar. Eli's here to help us learn more about radar's most basic functions.
All right, so radar. What is it and what does it even mean or how does it work? So radar is actually an acronym that stands for Radio Detection and Ranging, which is a weird fancy way of talking about radio waves and how we're able to use them. Now, if you don't know what radio waves are, they are part of the electromagnetic wave spectrum, and they work like pretty much any other wave, whether it's sound waves or light waves that we are able to physically see. They make waves, and then those waves can be bounced back at wherever the wave is being emitted as a signal. So if we take this slinky, for instance, along this table, we're going to make it wave a bit along the table, and we're going to see it bounce back. So these are all radio waves that we're able to see. And you notice it's a pretty quick reaction. In fact, radio waves, just like light waves, travel at the speed of light, which is 300,000 kilometers per second. It's incredible. Now, radio waves are emitted by something like this dish or other common radio emitters, where they send out a signal and milliseconds later stop sending the signal and wait to hear an echo or a signal bounce back at them. And that's where they're able to pick up signals to figure out where things are, how fast they're going, and what direction they're going at. So back in World War II was actually the first depiction or the first practical use of radio waves as radar, when Britain was worried about German war bombers coming in the fog of night, and so they used radar to actually pinpoint where they were before they came and bombed them, so they could practice shelter beforehand. Nowadays, they're used for so many modern applications, especially in transportation. All airplanes and airports, as well as all cargo ships, all satellites in space, have some sort of radar either looking at them, or they have radar on the ships or airplanes themselves looking for other things, especially in the military, where other things can be shot at them like missiles, and they want to know where they are in accordance to them.
So here on the museum floor, we have this really awesome model to depict how radar deflects off of different objects very differently. So to start off, we have this antenna deflecting, shooting its radar and radio signals towards this flat cube, and it gets a really strong signal. And then as you move along, it starts with a sphere, and it goes along, and this ground surface is a little bit weaker of a signal. And then you have things like this much smaller of our actual F-15. It's going to get an even weaker signal. And as technology has advanced, this F-22 has such a weak signal, it actually has the same signal as a small bird flying by. So really cool stuff. Another thing, if you've ever been stopped by a car before for speeding, or if you know about that, it's because police have radar guns that have their signal bounce off of your cars, which are very good at deflecting their signals back to the radar guns, and that's how they know how fast you're going. I'm going to suit it up back to Kathryn to talk about new potential ways that radar is changing everything.
Thanks, Eli. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the future of radar, check no further than self-driving cars, which will actually be using it to self-drive. Now, if you're interested more in the history and current use of radar, come to Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. We have all sorts of amazing examples of how it was used. And if you're interested in learning even more, stay tuned for next week, where we talk about drones. And yes, drones use radar too. We'll see you then.